Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. I'm so pleased you stopped by my channel today. I have for you a perfectly lovely spring flower centerpiece or table decor piece in beautiful shades of pink and orchid, placed in painted and distressed mason jars, adorned with beautiful mixed ribbon bows, placed in a wood container I made from wood from the Dollar Tree. Don't even get me started on how much I love this spring decor piece, which, by the way, would be fabulous as a centerpiece on an Easter dinner table. Welcome to all to my channel today, and if you're not currently a subscriber, I hope you will consider becoming one so you may be notified each and every time I upload a video. Please give this video a thumbs up and leave your comments as well. I love receiving them. Okay, let me show you how I created this beautiful spring flower decor piece. Let me show you the items that you will need to create this piece. Now, I am holding some wood rounds that are in the shape of eggs. Disregard that because I did a complete change of mind for the ends of the wood piece that I made to hold those spring flowers in the mason jars. Now, you could use this egg. That is an egg from the Dollar Tree, and it's a wonderful option. The other eggs I was considering because I couldn't find another egg from the Dollar Tree. But I ended up doing something completely different as far as the ends of this wood piece that holds those mason jars, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. I have here some wood dowels, and these I had gotten in the past on Amazon. They're 16 inches long, but you could as well find these at any craft store. You can use round dowels or square dowels. This is what the package looked like that I got. I had gotten it in the past on Amazon, I'm sure. But like I said, those are 16 inches long, so they will have to be cut. That other piece of wood that you see there was from the Dollar Tree, and that's 12 inches long. I have here 3 mason jars. Now, these you could pick up anywhere. I'm not sure if Dollar Tree carries them. I believe I have seen them there before. Walmart has them. You can order them on Amazon. You know, it's not difficult to find mason jars. I have their Snow White Waverly chalk paint and also an acrylic white paint. A paintbrush, because I'm going to be painting those mason jars white. I have there some rub-on transfers. I had there some pink flowers and some orchid ones. I'm going to make a decision about which ones. I'm going to just decorate the ends of my wood piece that I created to place those jars. There's that wood piece from the Dollar Tree. I just had that in my hand. Okay, so I have an assortment of ribbons here because I'm going to be creating small mixed ribbon, narrow ribbon bows for each of the mason jars with the spring flowers in them. So I have here an assortment of ribbons, and I will decide which ones I'm going to use when I compare them to the florals that I have, and when it comes time to make the bow. Oh, these bows come out so cute on these mason jars. I have there a couple of different ribbon that are Easter, which of course I got at Hobby Lobby. You can tell by the pink spool that they're on. And some of the other ones were from various places like Walmart, Dollar Tree. And here I have my florals. Now these came from Michael's. I absolutely love these. These pink ones, especially, those are Ashland florals from Michael's. These are also Michael's. They actually have beautiful florals, and I do love to take advantage of that those florals at Michael's when they're on sale. Those greenery pieces are Hobby Lobby, and those are the Dollar Tree. I love those florals. They have the tiny, tiny little orchid flowers. Oh my gosh. I had to go back to Dollar Tree to get more. And look at these are from Dollar Tree too. I have to say, I absolutely love these picks from the Dollar Tree. So I have an assortment, some Michael's, some Hobby Lobby, both of those, of course, on sale. And then I have the Dollar Tree ones. I have here some Gorilla Wood glue that I'm going to use to create my wood piece that's going to hold my mason jars. Okay, so this was my mind change. Now, you won't recognize these pieces probably because they're painted white. They were something else at one time, but these are Dollar Tree wood pieces. And I've seen these in just about every Dollar Tree I've ever been to. They are shaped like a stop sign or an octagon shape. What I'm going to be doing is taking that piece of wood that you see in between those two octagons, which is from the Dollar Tree. It's 12 inches long. I'm going to be wood gluing those octagon pieces on the end of that long wood piece from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to use my wooden dowels and create a little sides, if you will, for the piece. And you'll see what I mean by that in a bit. But I took those octagon pieces that were painted white and I sanded them a little bit. And now I'm going to take some Gorilla Wood glue. The first thing I'm going to do is start doing any gluing that I can with the wood glue because it does take some time to dry. So because these octagon pieces stand on their own, all I really have to do is put some wood glue on the ends of my wood piece. Place that at the base of the octagon pieces and just let that dry. Now that's step number 1. And when that's all dry, I'll be able to tip that piece on its side and place the dowels. And I'll show you what I mean by that. This is so easy. Now, one thing that I didn't include in the materials, I was trying to provide support for these pieces, but they really didn't need it. So I ended up just leaving well enough alone there and just letting it dry on its own. What I started to say was white spray paint. I did take this piece outside after I have everything all glued together, and I sprayed it with white spray paint. Now, I decided to take a jenga block, which is exactly the width of that piece of wood, on each side just for extra support for the piece. So I'm going to put a little bit of wood glue on this side and on the bottom. This is going to provide extra support for my piece. Now, one more thing that I didn't include in the materials was I had 2 wood beads. I decided to place those on the end as kind of like a sort of a handle, if you will, on the outside of each of the octagons. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a bit. But I used a wood bead with just the hole on one side. Now, if you have wood beads with the hole that goes all the way through, that's no problem. You can just put some spackle in there and close it up. And now I'm showing you here, this is how the mason jars are going to sit on there. And with the length of that piece of wood, those mason jars, 3 of them, fit perfectly on that wood piece provided. Okay, so I took off all my lids for my mason jars. And sometimes when I'm painting something like this, rather than to get paint all over my left hand while I'm holding the piece, I put on a rubber glove. I'm going to just be painting these with white chalk paint, and I just use a chippy brush, and I just do 2 coats all over the sides and the top of the jar, the rim of the jar. So I'm going to go ahead and paint all 3 of my mason jars. And again, that's 2 coats of Waverly Snow White chalk paint. And after I finish painting those, I'm just going to leave them sit off to the side to dry. And then later on, I'm just going to take a little bit of sandpaper, actually my zip sander, and just distress them just a little bit over the lettering and any of the raised areas of the mason jar. Now these turn out so pretty with those spring flowers. Very kind of a farmhouse look to this centerpiece. This is also beautiful just to sit on, an entryway table or anywhere where you're displaying Easter decor, or you just want a touch of spring decor in your home. Just turns out so pretty. Okay, and so I'm letting you know 2 coats there. Now I'm going to be creating these bows for each of these 3 mason jars. So I'm going to be making 3 bows, but I promise I won't make you watch me make all 3 bows, just 1. But I want to keep these bows small because I don't want them too overpowering for the piece. So I want to say that my loops are around 3.5 inches to 4 inches. And I'm going to create a 2-loop bow on each side, or 4 loops altogether. I'm using this ribbon that has a lot of pastel colors in it. It's actually an Easter ribbon, but it goes just beautiful for anything spring. So I'm going to have lots of little pieces of pipe cleaner on hand because I'm going to be using those to secure each of the bows, and then I will adhere them all together with hot glue. So that's layer number 1 and the bottom layer of each of these bows. I just twist it in the back. I fold my loops over to create them, and then I just scrunch it in the middle, keeping a tight hold with my index finger and my thumb. And that's layer number 1. Now I created this bow with lots of visual interest, so I chose different patterns of ribbon, different widths of ribbon. Now, the one change from what you see me doing here was I decided with all the layers that you'll eventually see me doing here, that was just a little bit too much with this particular ribbon. So I ended up taking this ribbon out of the stack just because I thought it was a little bit too thick for the top of that mason jar. So you see me creating this orchid ribbon bow here, but I ended up pulling that one out. I'll let you know here before we're through with this bow exactly how many ribbons I used on this bow. But as you can see, I do my bows all the same way. I fold over the loops, pinch it in the center, and then I take a pipe cleaner, twist it very secure in the back, 2 loops on each side or 4 loops all together. And the loops on that particular layer of the bow were pretty much the same as the base layer. Now I'm going to take this white ribbon, which is so pretty. This is a Walmart ribbon. Never, just don't walk by the narrow ribbons at Walmart. You have to stop and look at them. They carry the prettiest narrow ribbons, more so than anyone, if you ask me. Even Hobby Lobby, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but I just love the brand of ribbons that Walmart carries, and they have the prettiest, prettiest ribbons. Whenever I go to Walmart, I always go to look at the narrow ribbons. Okay, so this is actually it's layer number 2, but it looks, by what I'm doing here, that is layer number 3. But remember, I took that orchid layer out. And this ribbon is so, so pretty to be sandwiched in between these other colors and patterns. And I did my loops exactly the same way. And now we're just building a very, very beautiful little bow here. Now I'm going to take a gingham check. Where did I get this? I think I got this at Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree has gingham check ribbons. I picked up 4 the last time I was there. Orange, pink, black, and I believe green. I love their little narrow ribbons, Dollar Tree. While I don't love some things with Dollar Tree, I do love others. So I'm a Dollar Tree girl. I go to Dollar Tree on a regular basis. So in fact, there's probably around 6 different Dollar Trees that I stop in at various different times. Not every week, but frequently. Okay, so now I have this very pretty gingham check in pink, and it goes very well with that little, it's kind of a miniature hydrangea that I got at Michael's. So, so pretty. They're I just call them miniature because they're like a very small version of a big hydrangea. And here we have another Walmart ribbon. You can't see this very well in the video, but there are little flowers on this ribbon. I love it. This is a more narrow ribbon than the others. So I'm keeping my my loops around the same, but perhaps this one might be just a little bit smaller. Now you can just eyeball these kind of things. You don't need to measure them out. I'm just trying to give you a general idea how long or how many inches the loops are on the bows that I make. And now I'm searching for a pipe cleaner there, and I'm just going to secure the loops on this one. Now what I'm going to be doing is now I can take a piece of thin wire and place all of these bows one on top of the other to create the bigger bow, or I can hot glue them. Now I don't hot glue my bigger bows, but these little bows with the very narrow ribbons, I do. I just cut the back of the pipe cleaners off, and so they're nice and flush when I put them together, and I just hot glue them. This arrangement's going to obviously not be on the outside, so it doesn't matter. See how I press the pipe cleaner down after I cut it off? I'm going to take each one of those and snip off the excess pipe cleaner, and then I bend down any excess, as you just saw me do there, because I want it nice and flat, so when I put the layers together, it's not bulky, but instead it's just flush, one bow pressed flush to the next. Now, what I'm going to be doing after I glue all of these together, except for that orchid one there, I'm not using that one, I'm going to take that really pretty narrow white ribbon with the little flowers on it, and I'm just going to wrap the center. And that's how I'm going to finish the center of each of those 3 bows. Now, I don't even bother cutting off or trimming up the tails. I will be angling them until I get it on the piece and I determine how short or long I want each of those tails to be. And now at this point, I'm just going to be hot gluing, as I mentioned before. And you'll notice that I have that orchid one on, but I ended up pulling it apart, going, no, this is too bulky. Now, I do take needle nose pliers. You see that I have those there. I often take those to squish the center of my bows so that I have a really flush application of one bow on top of another. See how I squish it there? This really works like a charm. But I happened to realize before the glue was really set on this bow that I was going to eliminate that orchid layer in there because it just was a little bit too bulky. Even with squishing with the needle nose pliers, it just was too bulky. And now I'm going to be taking, as I mentioned, that narrow ribbon and wrapping the center of it. And that's how I'm going to finish off the center of my bow. Sorry, my hand's a little bit out of frame there. Let's see, I'm holding it up and I decided, not really, it's a little too bulky. But I did use all of the other ribbons, just eliminated the orchid one. See how I wrapped the center? And now you can see I took that orchid one out, and there's the finished bow. And I'm going to be doing 3 of those. And look how pretty that is with the gingham check and the different white ribbons. And then the crisscross pattern on the Easter ribbon from Hobby Lobby. Just beautiful. And I have all 3 of my ribbons, our bows all lined up there. My mason jars are dry. And my wood glue is dry, holding that jenga block and that centerpiece. Now, what we're going to be doing here is the easiest, most simple thing. Now that my piece is dry, at the base, I'm going to be able to just turn this piece on its side and place my dowels. Now I have to do one side at a time, giving it a little bit of an opportunity to dry before I flip it over and do the other side. Now my pieces, my dowel pieces, are 13 inches. My center piece that goes down the center, the base is 12 inches. And then you have the 2 pieces on the end, which are about 1/2 inch thick, those octagon pieces. And then my dowels are cut in 13-inch pieces. Now, I cut my dowels with miter shears. Super easy to do. Even if you get round dowels from the craft store, that you could do it with miter shears. Works very well. So I put 4 pieces on each side. I put my bottom piece on first, and I'm doing that with wood glue. Now, if you want to use the 12-inch dowels that they sell at the Dollar Tree, you could cut off 1 inch of your base piece of wood and use 12-inch dowels, but you're going to have to make that adjustment if you do. So let me say that again. Your base piece that goes in between the two octagon pieces, if you cut that down to 11 inches instead of 12, you could use 12-inch dowels from the Dollar Tree. Otherwise, if you're going to use a 12-inch piece for your base, you're going to have to pick up some dowels. Now, they can be square dowels. They can be flat dowels like mine. I believe, again, these were from Amazon. Or you can use round dowels. All of them will work. So I have my one piece at the bottom of that section of the octagon. I put one at the top of the section of the octagon. Now I'm going to place two in between there, and I'm just going to eyeball them and space them out. I still have my tag on that piece of wood. I just noticed that. I really need to get that off of there. Now we're just using wood glue on the ends, and this is going to adhere and hold very, very nicely. This was so much fun to make. Such a simple thing, but so satisfying to make it. Now, I tried to choose dowels or those pieces of wood that weren't bowed, because sometimes that happens even with wood dowels. You have to really inspect them, even in the craft store, to be sure, that they're straight. I did the best I could on that in that regard, and I tried to cut all my pieces as close to 13 inches as possible. And I'm going to let those dry. And after they're dry, I'm going to turn that piece over and do the other side. And this is going to create the cutest holder for my mason jars with my beautiful spring flowers. Now, I ended up placing some floral transfers on the end, but if you don't want to do that, you do you. You could keep it perfectly plain, and then you could use this piece for all different seasons. For example, Christmas, and you could put Christmas greenery in the mason jars. Now, I'm going to be showing you here in a minute that I wrapped a piece of ribbon around the rim of each of those mason jars. And it's so simple to just cut that off. And then you can change the ribbon to any decor, Christmas, fall, whatever. It's as simple as snipping off the ribbon, because the bows are going to be glued right to the ribbon, not to the rim of the mason jar. But let's face it, it's just hot glue. No matter what, it would just peel right off anyway. Okay, so I'm showing you here, kind of in the reverse, but I just wanted to be sure to cover it. I'm showing you how I used my miter shears and how simple it was to cut these. Now, when I do this, it's going to snap and I think fall on the floor. But that's nothing unusual when you're using miter shears. But I just wanted to show you it's that easy. And if you use a very narrow dowel or a small circular dowel, it's going to be super easy as well. Okay, so now I'm putting that ribbon around the rim of the mason jars. And quite simply, I'm just going to put a dab of glue. And I'm going to adhere the end of that ribbon and bring it around with a dab of glue here and there. And just wrap the top of that mason jar. Just a little dab, because you're dealing with the kind of a satin ribbon here, so you don't want to overdo the hot glue. I'm going to bring it all the way around to where I started, And you're going to do that for each of those mason jars. And there you have it. We're all the way around. And we're going to snip that off. Close it off with a dab of hot glue. And we have one more to go, but I'm not going to make you watch me do that. These mason jars are turning into something so pretty. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, I did. I took my zip sander, and I don't want a lot of distressing, so I just lightly went over the areas that were raised, like the word ball, and any little areas where there was anything raised. That's typically raised on a mason jar. So I just went over lightly just to give them a little bit of distressing. Very, very light. I don't distress a lot or heavy when I do. That's just my choice. You do you, however much distressing you like, or you don't have to distress them at all. It's up to you. So I did all 3 of my mason jars. This gives it kind of a little bit of a farmhouse look and defines the raised areas of those mason jars. And you can see just a very light distressing. Okay, now I have all my florals laid out. I snipped off any of the excess, but I want to be sure not to snip them off too far, because remember, I'm not going to be using any floral foam inside of these jars. There's really no need to do that. I'm just going to let my florals and my greenery just be the support for one another, if that makes any sense at all, inside of the jar. Those florals are not going to be moving around in the jar. So I didn't feel the need to, I'm going to show you one done there with the bow and the florals. I did one as kind of like my template or my example of how I was going to do each one of them. And I pretty much followed a pattern on them. Now these are going to be attractive from either side. So I made sure, obviously there's a front side, but there's a back side. And I took my piece outside and sprayed it. Look how cute this is. It came out so good. All right, and there's my wood ball. Now, I picked these up at Hobby Lobby. They have a kind of a flat side on one side and then a hole on the other. So I just used Aleene's Tacky Glue, and I put my my ball in the center of each of my octagon pieces on the outside. Right in the center, I did one side, let it dry, and then I did the other. And I believe I showed you how I managed to hold that second bead on there. Let's see, if I didn't, I'll mention it, how I did it. But let's go on to the florals for right now. So what I'm going to be doing is placing my florals inside of my mason jar. Now, I use my greenery to really provide like a lot of stability to my piece as far as the florals. So I like to put some of the greenery in the front and in the back. And then I'm going to start putting my little, they look like purple tulips. I got those at Michael's on sale. Those are Ashland. So you can see I'm trying to, space my greenery out. These little pieces, I'm not sure what you call them, but they're so pretty. They're white, little tiny flowers. And I'm also going to place those in there because they're also another way to create like a stable place to insert the flowers. So I use my greenery and those. And once you start putting your pieces in, you'll feel that they're secure in there. And my little miniature hydrangea goes right in the top. And that's going to peak up higher than any of the other florals. So that's my focal center point. And I'm going to use these beautiful flowers from the Dollar Tree. Love the way these look in the arrangement. I put one of the darker purple and one of the orchid on each side of the hydrangea. So this arrangement is very balanced. You can see that I'm duplicating what I do on one side on the other side. Same thing, an orchid piece and a darker purple. Now I do take anywhere where I need a little filling, I just separate my greenery in smaller pieces and I just insert that. Now you do you arrange your flowers however you like, and that's of course going to be in accordance to what flowers you choose. But try and choose a little bit bigger flower, not big because these are just mason jars, but a little bit bigger than your smaller elements. And there's my little Dollar Tree piece in there. Oh, I love that Dollar Tree flower. It has these fabulous little leaves on it and tiniest little orchid flowers. Love, love. Okay, so this is coming together. Now I'm turning it around on the back, and I want to also have some greenery back there. And again, I want the back side to be attractive as well. Yes, this arrangement does have a front side, but if this is a centerpiece on a table, you want it to be attractive from the back side as well. And look how beautiful. All those dainty, beautiful flowers. I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue. And on the front side, right at the top of the jar, I'm going to glue that bow right onto the strip of ribbon that I placed around the top of the jar. I have some leftover florals there. And my floral pieces are all complete. I do put my bows on the side with the ball letters. You do you. It doesn't make any difference. But I do make my jars all facing the same direction when I put the bow on. Again, you do you. I don't think this really makes a very big difference one way or another. But look what happens to that arrangement when you put that beautiful little bow on there. Oh my goodness. I love this so much. And I hope you do as well. Now I'm going to snip off my tails with my brand new scissors. I just got these scissors and oh my goodness, they are sharp. I didn't realize how dull my scissors were until I got a new pair. These are wonderful. So I make my ribbons toward the top a little bit shorter, and then my ribbons on the bottom of the bow a little bit longer. But you do you. However you want yours. I do like mine just kind of trailing down the front of my mason jar. Oh my gosh, do I love this. I know I just said that, but I do. Okay, so I have my one ball on there. No, oh, I do show you. Okay, so because I can't turn it on its end flat like I did the other side to glue the ball on, I'm going to show you what I did so that you could do it as well. I put a generous amount of Aleene's Techie glue. Once I can get it out of the bottle, that is. And what I'm going to do is use some painter's tape to hold that ball or that bead on the end while it dries. Because, like I mentioned, I can't stand that piece on its end because I already have the bead on the other side. So I'm going to place that right in the center. But what I should have done here is have my painter's tape all ready, which I didn't. So I'm going to have to stop here and pull a piece of tape off. Trying to do it with one hand didn't work. So I would pull off 2 good-sized pieces of painter's tape, place the ball on, and then let your painter's tape hold that on while it's drying. And this worked out just perfectly. I crisscrossed my painter's tape. I put another piece across just to hold it firmly on there. Now I'm going to be painting, of course, that bead on the end. Now the size of the bead is, again, totally up to you. Or maybe you don't want the bead at all. I mean, you know, like I always say, you do you. That's what I chose for my piece. Maybe you have a better idea for something to put on the end, or maybe you just want to leave it as is. Okay, so I have a little bit of that acrylic paint. My bead is all dry, and I'm just going to give that a couple of coats of white acrylic paint. Now, one thing that I don't believe I mentioned was after I spray painted this piece outside, obviously, I ended up taking that acrylic paint and just giving it one coat all over the whole piece, just so I would have a nice smooth application of an acrylic paint. So I did do that. It was very quick and easy. I just used a chippy brush. Now I'm placing some of my rub-on transfers, and I chose to use some orchid flowers, and I placed a butterfly on there. And like I said, you do you, but I thought it was just a nice, pretty touch. If you wanted to keep this piece just plain, so you could use it for other occasions or holidays, you know, you could do that as well. I'm sure I could pull those transfers off if I wanted to anyway, but it's just a nice little touch because my piece is going to be for probably spring and summer. So I have my ball painted, I have my piece all done, and I am loving it so much. Look how cute this is from Dollar Tree wood. I just love it. Each of the ends are a little bit different. This really picks up all those pretty purple flowers in the little arrangements. And now we're going to be placing our jars, which are going to fit just perfectly in this piece. And number 3, All of my bows facing forward. And there you have it. So, so pretty. Beautiful for an Easter dinner centerpiece or just a spring touch in your home. Look how pretty this is. I love it. If you like what you see on my channel, I hope you will consider subscribing if you are not currently a subscriber. And if you like this centerpiece, let me know in the comments and give me this video a thumbs up. And I hope you're thinking about how you might make this piece and make it your own with your own colors and your own choice of flowers and choice of ribbons. Okay, until next time, you all take care.